Welcome to the Week 2 battle of the PCL of your Bane of the Hawluchas. My name's Chase, aka Chase Talks, and this week we're facing off against the Compton Klinks. Now, just in case you can't remember our roster, I'll throw that up for a second. And running down he's got the ICMZ, Mega DNC, Kieran Black, Milotic, Alola Muck, Jolteon, Registeel, Beartic, landorus-t, Hawluchas, Hawluchas, and Durant. Now going into this match, a few things I was really worried about was his Fairy, Dragon Steel Core, his Registeel, the Mega DNC, and the Kieran Black. That's a really scary combination. Mega DNC and Kieran Black are scary enough on their own, but then you add in a huge wall like Registeel and combine that with like Milotic. It gets pretty scary. He's also can do like a Z Hail with like a Beartic. So there's a lot of different options there. I was really worried that this match would get really stally really quick. So the first Pokemon I decided to bring this week was our Mega Gardevoir, our Assassin of Red. With the Hyper Voice, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Shadow Sneak, going fully offensive, just enough outspeed everything I can with a timid nature. Not Scarfed, of course. And I got really big hopes going into this match of what Mega DNC can do, or not Mega DNC, Mega Gardevoir. He's got the Mega DNC, two Mega Queens over here. Just kind of seeing what she can do. She's going to be my main wall breaker. Hopefully she can break through the Hawluchas, the Milotic, things like that. Next I decided to bring the Tangrowth, the first half of our Regenerator Core, and the Green Ranger, with Giga Drain, Power Whip, Earthquake, Knockoff. Now I got 56 points in attack this week with the max HP and 204 in defense. Special defense. The main reason I decided to bring 56 in attack was just so the Earthquake, Power Whip, and Knockoff would be doing a little bit more damage, and Giga Drain full recovery, of course, with the Assault Vest. The next Pokemon I decided to bring was Alola, the Purple Ranger, second half of our Regenerator Core with Scald, Toxic Wish, and Protect. This is going to be my defensive wall, 252 in defense, a little bit of special attack, a little bit of defense because I want to have that odd HP stat. Next, I am bringing our Garchomp with the Groundium Z. Both things making our debut this week, as well as the Regenerator Core, things I didn't bring week 1. We got our Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Iron Head, Swords Dance. This thing is just kind of meant to get a Swords Dance and Sweep. I'm not going to get any speed buffs, so if he has any Scarfer, that can kind of ruin my day. But the Groundium Z will take out my Milotic, will take out a Hawluchas. It'll punch some holes in where I need it to punch them. So that looks really good going into this. Then I also have my Rolex, my Steelix, Assault Vested this week with the Sheer Force. Sheer Force to boost the damage that Thunder Fang's doing, Ice Fang's doing, and Iron Head. 252 in tech with the Adamant nature. This is kind of just to be a bully on anything. I really don't think many people expect as much. Many people really expect for Steelix to actually be an offensive variant rather than a defensive variant or just a straight up wall. So I'm really kind of hoping to catch people off guard with the Steelix. I did bring it week 1, so I guess that does diminish the surprise factor, but we'll see what happens. And my last Pokemon I'm bringing this week is Mamoswine with the Choice Band, 252 in attack, max HP, enough to make it odd, with a little bit of defense and a little bit of special defense. Isocrass, Ice Shard, Knockoff, Earthquake. This thing really has the potential to both clean up with the Ice Shard, Knockoff to get rid of, especially if I can get rid of Milotic. If it's a Flame Orb, I don't want to face a Flame Orb Milotic. If I can get rid of that thing's Flame Orb so it doesn't get the Marvel skill boost, that'll really help me in a good spot. Earthquake will do a ton of damage. Isocrass, Ice Shard, of course, that'll take Landorus off the board. Landorus cannot even take an Ice Shard. So here's my team, and let's jump into the battle. Now, looking at his team and what he decided to bring, I decided to lead Mamoswine, and he leads off with the Milotic. Now here, I decide to take a Scald, even though I know I'm going to do damage, and I get burned out, which is terrible. Totally crippling me. I do knock off and get rid of its Flame Orb, which I fully knew I was going to do, but that burn hurt me so bad. I decided to switch right out. I don't want to lose my Mamoswine just yet. I can use it as setup fodder later. or not setup fodder. I can use it as a sacrifice later. It could be setup fodder though. So I switch to my Tangrowth. He decides to switch out, fearing that Power Whip or a Giga Drain probably, any grass type stab, and goes into Registeel. Now I decided to knock off right here and get rid of the Registeel's leftovers, get rid of another item on another Pokemon while he sets up the Stealth Rocks. And this time he goes for a Toxic. It's really unfortunate that I do get my Tangrowth Toxic so early in the game. It's going to limit the time between my regen switch outs. He's going to go for Seismic Toss. I know I can tank that pretty well. I have a lot of HP, and he's tanking these Earthquakes really well too. I think he might have some form of recovery, could be a rest set, so I decided to switch out into my Steelix, knowing that I could take a Seismic Toss and kind of threaten this thing out. Now here I do go for an Ice Fang. I kind of thought he might switch into landorus-t. I did bring the Ice Fang week 1, so I didn't know if he'd be expecting that, and he does decide not to switch into it. Now here scouting for the Thunder Fang, he does switch into his landorus-t, which if I would have just went for double Ice Fang there, that would have done so much damage. I decide to switch to my Tangrowth. I don't take that U-turn at all as he switches back into his Registeel. I did go for Giga Drain there to get a little bit of my health on his Registeel, but I need to switch out this turn or I'm going to let my Tangrowth go down, which I do not want to happen. I switched to my Rolex here, knowing I could take this Seismic Toss. I was assuming that's what he's going to do, or he would go for another form of recovery again. This time I decided to go for an Earthquake rather than reveal the Thunder Fang this early, knowing that he's going to go into my Milotic. I do go to Alomomola, expecting him to switch into landorus-t, not Tangrowth. I have Tangrowth. He decides to go for the Recover instead. Here I decide to go for a Toxic. He goes for a Toxic himself, and mine misses, which was terrible. I got burned, and I missed the Toxic. So bad at this point in the game. But that's the game we play. I go for another Toxic as he switches into Registeel. I should have saw that come and went for a Scald. I would have been in a much better position. Or if I would have just switched in my Tangrowth. So here he goes for the Protect to see what I want to do. I end up going for the Wish. I want to Wish Pass into my Steelix is my thought process at this point. My Steelix is starting to get low. After I take another Seismic Toss, I'm going to get super low. And that's going to hurt. So I get the Wish Recovery here. I'm feeling great on my Steelix. I decide to go for another Earthquake, and he does bring in the Milotic. Or actually, I go for an Iron Head that time. I don't know why I thought I went for an Earthquake. I go for an Iron Head that time, just to kind of catch anything coming in. He does go into that, and he decides to Scald. I take that really well with my Tangrowth. I needed to switch it in again in order to get a little bit more regen recovery. I decided to go straight into my Purple Ranger, expecting him to again go into Landorus, and he does not. Now I do have my defensive wall in right here. There's not a ton I can do for this except for go for the Scald and kind of see what damage. I was really fishing for a burn, kind of get back on my side since he got both the Toxic Miss and the Scald burn. I was kind of fishing for a burn there myself to kind of put this thing on a timer, because at this point it does not look like it has recovery, or he would have clicked it by now. Now, I did go for a Wish here. I'm going to go ahead and pass that Wish into my Tangrowth. My Tangrowth is going to take a lot of damage with rocks, plus the Seismic Toss. Not having Crobat on my team to defog really hurt me this match. Those rocks were ripping me apart on my switches. So he does Protect to see what I do. I was predicting him to switch into Milotic every time he switched into Milotic. He does just go for the Seismic Toss here. I'm going to go for an Earthquake. I'm not going to go for Power Whip 2 times in a row. There's no way I was choiced on my Tangrowth, and I'm going to take that thing out. I don't go down to Toxic damage, but he does switch into his Landorus. Now at this point, I do not want to lose my Tangrowth. I'm going to go straight into my Rolex to take his U-turn, which was great. Steelix tanks that like a champ, and he's going to go into his Milotic. Now, I had not revealed that I had Thunder Fang yet, but I can see that he might be fishing for it. So I go into my Alomomola as he goes into Jolteon. I don't know if he predicted that or not. If he did, he's a champ. I'm not. I go straight into my Mamoswine. At this point, I am fully going to sack off my Mamoswine. It's time. Sorry, Guts. I'm sure you're going to do great another game. You did great week 1. You're not pulling it off week 2. So here I decide to switch into my Steelix to pressure it out. I know I can kind of Earthquake semi-freely. He could have gone into Landorus there, but I really don't think he's going to want to take an Ice Fang on it. Now I reveal Thunder Fang for the first time, but he outspeeds me. So I get the crit. It didn't matter because he outspeeds me. I'm fishing for something here. I know I'm not going to get a paralysis because I have sheer force. And I get burned again. which is terrible. 2 scalds, 2 burns, feeling like a champ. A Thunder Fang again does nothing, kind of just trying to do as much damage as Milotic as possible. At this point, he's just going to stall out my burn, which sucks for me, but what can you do? So I'm not going to go down to burn damage this turn. I'm going to go down to next turn. He decides to Scald instead of recovering up to full health. Might have been a little bit of a misplay, but he could have been expecting me to try and save my Steelix. But with no way to get rid of the burn, there's no way I was going to try and save that. So I do just go straight into Tangrowth here. I Giga Drain, predicting him to switch into Landorus. It seemed like that was his go-to, probably to get the U-turn damage. I really don't know anything about this Landorus besides the fact that it most likely has Ground Stab and it has U-turn. Now, he got into his Reuniclus, which is bad. I am going to Toxis this thing, but it's going to take no damage from my Tox at the end of this turn, and it sets up a Calm Mind. This is probably the worst position that I could be in at this point. We're still looking at a, I'm down 4-5, but I do not want to be in this space. I do switch in to my Tangrowth to get a knockoff. I don't want to lose my Tangrowth at this point. I do have the speed lowering nature, so I'm going to switch to my Assassin of Red, expecting him to go for a Psychic. He does not. He goes for the cover. I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball that does minimal damage. He goes for a Shadow Ball, gets the defense drop, and here I'm speeding up the battle because this part was long. He's trying to recover stall out my Mega Gardevoir, and I'm fishing for a crit. I want to punish him for recover stalling me. So I end up getting 3 special defense drops, which counter his 3 Calm Minds that he got. So at the end, he does not have any special defense boost when I finally die. That was good. A crit would have killed it. I really needed the crit. I was fishing for it. I couldn't get it. Unfortunately to me, the recover stalling worked out to a point. I do Shadow Ball. That does a good amount of damage to him. He Shadow Balls out and finally takes me out. After one more turn, finally takes me out. Boom. Played twice. Now I'm going to go into my Cynthia here, my Mega Garchomp, or my normal Garchomp, definitely not Mega. I'm going to go for an Earthquake. I get low rolled on the Earthquake as it goes for a recover. I'm not playing this game a second time. I didn't want to use my Groundium Z on this. I wanted to save it for the Milotic. Or, yeah, the Milotic was really what I wanted to save it for. But I used it. I need to get this Reuniclus off. It was really bugging me. He's going to go into his Landorus at this point. I don't know what Landorus' set is. It could be Scarfed, it could be Banded. I don't know. I'm going to switch out. It goes for Earthquake. That does so much damage to my defensive Alola. Bad spot. I'm going to go for a switch right here into Tangrowth. Get that Regenerator health. And I'm still taking toxic damage on both these guys. I have my Regen Core on a timer and my Cynthia sitting in the back at full HP. My Cynthia is my hope and my dream right now. I know he wants to get a U-turn off to take out this Tangrowth. He thinks it's going to take it out, so I'm just going to switch right back into Alola. He knocks me off, actually, instead of it this time, when I really thought a U-turn was going to come again. Here, I'm going to go ahead and protect just to kind of waste off a turn. I thought he was going to go for the kill. He doesn't. Here I need to switch back into my Tangrowth to get the health. I am going to Toxic it first before I do that. And he Dragon Tails for me with Mage the Switch, and it actually goes in my Cynthia, which is great. I wanted to go into Tangrowth, but it's great that's in Cynthia. I can set up a Dragon Dance on this thing. I am not worried about this thing Scald. That's a neutral damage. From an uninvested Milotic, not worried about that all day. If I would have got a burn there, that would have sucked. +2 Earthquake, you ain't living it. Here he's going to go into his Landorus. Now, I was really hoping his Landorus wasn't Scarf. I was hoping, praying to the Hex Gods that it wasn't Scarf, and it was, and it kills me. So, I'm on the back of the Green Ranger and the Purple Ranger. I got my Power Ranger squad over here. Is going to be the only thing that can bring me to victory, and he's going to go into his Durant. At this point, I don't have a ton that can deal with this Durant. I am just going to Giga Drain it, get a little bit of health. I was fishing for the Landorus skill. I thought he might leave it in. He Hone Claws while I go for Earthquake. Earthquake's not going to do enough damage because I'm a Tangrowth. And I'm not a Garchomp. I'm a Tangrowth. And I'm not a Steelix. I'm going to get X-Scissored. It crits me. Does a lot of damage. I'm going to go into Alola. He can use anything to take out my Alola at this point. My Alola is so weak. Taking a little bit of Life Orb damage doesn't matter. GG to my opponent. It was a good game. It was a long, stally game. If I had any complaint. I couldn't believe going in this game that he didn't bring either Mega DNC or Kieran Black. He didn't even have a Z user on his team, which is okay. I run no Z user all the time. Total props to my opponent. He played way better than I did this match. I did not play well. I was just happy to bring it down to a 3-0. Very poor showing on my part, and let's just bring it back in the next week. We're still 1-1, still looking good. That's not a big deal. We're going off a big win against Frost week 1. The week 3, we're going to be playing against Magic and the Houston Dynamo, so look out for that. That match will be coming on Sunday if it gets uploaded on the right time. This one's being uploaded a few days late, and I apologize for that, of course, but if everything stays on schedule, this match will be uploaded this Sunday. And if you like this video, as always, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you never want to miss another episode of Chase Talks. Until next time, this is Chase, signing off.